from 10 years ago, and another picture of the same supposed band, Guns N' Roses, from today.
Okay, but what are you seeing there, Jordan? I mean, obviously the same band over 10 years, it should look pretty similar, right?
Well, that's what you'd expect. You'd expect the Guns N' Roses that you perhaps grew up with would be the same Guns N' Roses here. But I'm looking at this old picture of GNR and this supposed new picture of GNR, and I'm supposed to believe that these are the same people in this band. You can see it right here. These are not the same guys.
No, I mean, there's that picture from 10 years later. They look much older than the picture previously. I mean, that's, it's got to mean something.
But what are they hiding here, right? Like, these are the people that we knew from our youth. They're the people that we were supporting, singing along to.
Yeah. And they supported us in many ways.
In many ways, right? Yeah. I feel like a lot of times, any sort of autumnal sprinkle, I would quickly go in. I'd go right past that Pearl Jam album. I'd throw in Guns N' Roses. And suddenly I'd hear the November rain. I'd understand that when I walk outside and I feel like this rain means death to everybody at my wedding party, that they understood where I was coming from.
Yeah, I'm nostalgic just thinking about it, Jordan.
You know, right? I can't go. Yep.
Jordan, we've hacked it.
Oh, we've hacked into Facebook?
We're in, Jordan.
We're in?
Yeah.
Welcome Facebook Live. Apparently we've hacked in. I'm here with Kobi Labi. We're here at the Oppo radio station. We're going over some of the stories that we haven't been able to cover on our traditional Viacom-sponsored post. They kicked us off the air this week, so we decided to take it to the other airwaves, the radio airwaves, the Facebook airwaves. We're here to answer any questions that you might have for us about any of the stories that happened this week, about our lives right here. We will take any and all questions, big or small. We will answer them or not answer them. I think we're really open to all of this. Yeah. To catch you up what we were talking about for the last 42 minutes. Yeah. I was given recently a picture of this band Guns N' Roses, and I'm comparing it to another photo of Guns N' Roses from 10 years ago, and I hate to say it, these are not the same guys.
It's tragic, Jordan, that this kind of propaganda would be shoved down our throats. People that loved Guns N' Roses and supported them for years and years. Jordan, I'm just getting an update. People are watching us live in Germany. So hello, Germany. Thank you for your support.
Great. I appreciate that kind of support. I want them to know that we are proudly broadcasting from the bowels of New York City in America. And so we will take international support, but even more than that, we will take national support.
Okay, and I'm getting a question here for you, Jordan, Great. And obviously our listeners understand the important subjects of the day. Sure. The question is, are horses real?
No. I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of people often look at horses as like, are these tangible objects that I can ride? I, for one, have never known anybody to ride a horse.
I've never ridden a horse?
Never ridden a horse, yeah exactly. And I've been in the West, I've been in the North, I've been in the South. I currently live in the East.
Right.
Again, anywhere could be these directions, depending on where you're living. But again, I base most of my directions off of right in the center of America. That's Topeka, Kansas. And you're either north, south, east, west from Topeka, Kansas. And through all my travels, I have never ever ridden upon a horse.
Yeah, and it's incredible how pervasive this myth is that horses are in fact objects that you can really touch and ride. Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised by how much that fiction's caught on, Jordan.
Well, I mean, it shows you the effect that Hollywood has.
Absolutely.
There was the era of the Western.
The Westerns.
And these Westerns, they mythologized the American male. They said the American male, he wears a cowboy hat. He wears spats of sorts. And he rides a unicorn without a horn. And I'm like, what is this unicorn without a horn? And they're like, it's a horse. Now you can see also the commercial elements within it as well. Like at this point, people are like, oh, I want a pony. Mommy, give me a pony. Oh, give me my little pony. And suddenly we're selling horses. Before you sell me a horse, why don't you show me a horse? Let me get on top of it.
Right? Yeah, they weren't called horse boys. Am I right? Another question, Great, Jordan. Yeah. Why does the government keep turning on my caps lock?
That's a great question. The government's trying to normalize volume. If you think about this, a caps lock is just a way to emphasize text in a way that appears if you're screaming. If the government makes it look like you're always screaming, and when you have something to scream about, then it's normalized. So you can't rise above the chaos that is already out there, because the government in and of itself is creating said chaos. And said chaos is spelled S-A-I-D. But let me be specific. It's capital S, capital A, capital I, capital D. It's the normalization of volume, and you have to be really careful. You have to rise above that. If you have a computer at home, they're not going to tell you this, but if you have a computer at home, if you Command Alt 3, you can double caps lock, and you can rise above the caps lock the government's already putting on your computer.
Oh, I just did it. That's incredible, Jordan.
There you go. Yeah, they're not going to tell you that. You can't Google that.
Next.
And don't. Side note: don't ever use Google. Yahoo, maybe, but not Google.
Jordan, is a hot dog a sandwich?
That's a great question. You'd be surprised. We get that question. How often?
Yeah, 2-3 times a week.
2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
A lot of people wonder. As you know, we have what we call the Klepper Square here on the show. So there's, the government wants to give you the food pyramid. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to follow that.
Okay. Okay.
Do I look like an Egyptian?
No.
I might walk like one once.
Right,
Somebody said that to me once on the street. I was
yeah?
like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "The song," and I'm like, "That's not a song. I'm a person." It shows you the craziness of New York City. The craziness.
This town. Yeah.
But in our the Klepper Food Square, sandwiches, as we all know, it's at the top because you can get the most in there. Also, sandwiches, they don't hide anything from you. And what I've always said is, like, when you are eating a sandwich or any kind of food, you have to be distrustful.
Yeah.
They can put anything in there, and that's why empanadas I do not trust. You can throw anything inside an empanada. Anything that is folded, like an open-faced burrito, fine, I'm supportive of it. You know, although if you consider it Tex-Mex, which I do, I will go into it. A burrito bowl, I'll take that as well because I'm able to sift through this. A classic sandwich where you can see through it and you understand what is within it, great. An issue I have with hot dogs in and of themselves is when the back end of the bun is still connected. At that point, you can hide anything underneath.
Yeah, I mean, there could be relish down there. There could be mustard. I mean, God knows.
You can put whatever you want. So if you can break that hot dog up and therefore make it a sandwich, well, then that's something I'm interested in. Then it's right up there on the top of that square. And then in and of itself, yes, hot dog equals sandwich. That's a great question.
Yeah, I know it's a very technical answer. We appreciate the specificity, Jordan. How do you decide which stories to cover on the opposition?
Oh, that's a great question. Whew. I read as many as I can.
No, of course, yeah. I watch you daily, just, reams and reams of paper that you're buried underneath. It's
just you can never catch up.
Right?
There's always news is always happening. News is like time.
Yes.
I have to feel something when I read these stories. Something like because you guys know it if you're watching at home, or if you're not watching at home, even if you're out on a train. Yeah. Hopefully not public transportation. Hopefully a train of your own building, something that you've created unto yourself.
Ideally, it's the only way you can disconnect really from the grid.
Exactly. If you don't have your own train or are not working on your own kind of train transportation, then where are you going with your life? You're going where they want to tell you.
I remember the first time you laid your own tracks, Jordan. I was so inspired by that. Just that the rugged individualism of a man laying his own railway in his yard and through his neighbor's yard. It's inspiring, Jordan.
Kobi, I appreciate that. Not enough people think to lay their own tracks. Where are you going, and who is telling you to go there? I'm the only person who will tell myself where to go and when to go there. It's frustrating when there are communal events with the office. Like we're all going to meet at a local establishment to get turkey sandwiches. There's a decent chance I won't make it, and that's simply because I live and die by the sword, and that sword is railroad tracks that I have laid down.
No, absolutely.
I think that answered the question. At this point, I think we're far enough away from it that, and this is what happens with trains. Sometimes you get so far away from home, you never come back.
It's well put, Jordan. Well put. I heard, as a question, I heard the upside down from Stranger Things.
That's not a question.
Okay.
Let's just throw that one out. I heard is not a question. Okay. That's an anecdote. And so if you're at home right now and you're starting your questions with "I heard," you're just relaying something that you heard somebody else say. A question should be something that begins with "in," bubbles up, and from there there's a need that needs to be filled. And I will see that need and I will fill that hole. Any others?
No, that's great. The mountains. Why so tall? What are they hiding?
Great. This one is all about specificity.
Okay.
The government, the public school industry.
It's not always the they.
They're going to want to tell you that the mountains exist in one place.
Right.
West. Go West, young boy. We're not all young boys.
No, not anymore.
Some of us are old boys.
Old boys.
All right. These mountains they're all over the world right now.
Yeah, right.
Okay. The Earth moves in a way in which creates mountains.
Absolutely.
And that's like underneath the Earth. They're not going to tell you this in school. There are plates, and the plates rub up against each other. And when they do that, a male plate and a female plate will rub up against one another.
Yep.
And
This
they
is
will
just a little warning. If you have families with small children, you may want to have them step out of the room for this section. It's scientific, but just depending on how you choose to run your family. Sorry, go ahead. The male plate and female plate.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I appreciate for that.
No, of course.
Some parents aren't comfortable with the idea of plate ejaculation. And so if that makes you uncomfortable, I'm sorry. Sometimes the truth is uncomfortable.
And it's natural, but uncomfortable.
Exactly. And so wherever this happens, and the plates deem it necessary to procreate yet another mountain, a mountain does spring up, which brings a question: what is that mountain hiding?
Yes.
And it's the other side. And I promise you, if you were out there right now, I promise you, here on the opposition, we are always showing you the other side. We'll knock down those mountains for you.
Jordan, a pressing question that I've often asked myself: where do my dreams go when I wake up?
Your dreams will never leave you. I think they want you to think that dreams are just games your mind plays with delirium. It's not true. Dreams are premonitions. They're foretellings of a future yet to be lived in a dimension that has yet to be fully understood. But don't think that you're off the hook when you open your eyes. The minute you open your eyes is just a minute you've closed your eyes to something else that is happening outside there. That's why I ask people who are watching our show, watch our show with eyes open. Yeah. Great. It's a great way to interpret the things we talk about, the things we care about. But also watch our show with eyes closed. And I've said this many times. Definitely, close your ears when you watch our show. It's the best way to understand, because when you close up your ears, you listen to what's going on in your head, and only what's going on in your head, and trust that we are reinforcing what is going on in your head on the outside, because dreams will pull you in another world, and sometimes you have to close your eyes and jump into that.
That's important stuff.
Yeah. Thank you, Kim. I'm going to say that person's name was Kim.
Kim. It was Kim. That was Kim from Topeka.
Oh, good. That's right near the center.
No mountains near Topeka, Kim.
No.
Now.
I get some other stories in here too. If we want
Jordan,
to talk
let's take a pause from questions. I think we've listened to other people for long enough for one day.
You said it, not me.
But let's hear from ourselves. Jordan? I know there are a number of stories that have been on your mind lately. Things that you don't feel the mainstream media has covered correctly. Let's talk about a couple of those, Jordan.
Kobi, great. Here's one on Reuters.
Reuters, which of course I know as a linguistics expert is from the Latin root "reut," which of course means a lie root to sort of a yam that dissembled.
So like a distrustful yam.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
From this distrustful yam, General Motors to buy sensor tech firm Strobe to speed up self-driving car push. They're buying a self-driving car. They're investing into self-driving car technology.
Oh.
Kobi, why do we want these cars to know where we're going?
I don't.
No.
I don't even want my GPS to know. I don't want to know where I'm going.
Exactly.
When I get behind the wheel of a car, it's my right as an American to be going literally anywhere and not necessarily, am I turning left, am I turning right, am I going to a destination? I don't know, and that's how I like to drive, Jordan.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't know where you're going, then they can't know where to meet you.
Exactly.
Again, very difficult. Any kind of social gatherings for us here at the opposition, sparsely attended.
Yeah, and again, I'm so sorry we got our signals crossed.
Again, I understand.
It's just
we have to come up with a better system.
Exactly. And the coffee shop I was at was great. I'm sure the coffee shop you were at were great, and we had just separate coffees rather than meeting.
If we are resistant to share that kind of information.
Yeah, even with each other, when meeting each other.
Exactly. It's not that I don't trust you. It's just I have no trust for anybody in my life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because of that.
Yes.
That in and of itself makes it difficult for any kind of gathering or even human connection.
Right. Yeah.
So why would I want a car to have what's going on inside my head? The cars know too much anymore. They know whether or not the gasoline is running on empty. They know what songs we're listening to.
Right.
And that's always confusing to me. It's like, how do you know that I'm listening to Bob Seger yet again? I don't like that. I mean, there's a decent chance if you get into a car with me, which the chances are slim. But if you do, chances are it could be a Bob Seger song, the greatest of America, the poet laureate of America.
Many would say.
I have multiple times.
Right.
That you might understand that, but that's because of a connection and a pattern that we have made together. But the car shouldn't know that.
Yeah,
the car should know that.
And that's that's exactly right. So obviously we're frightened about the work GM is doing, but we're going to work here to oppose them. And our feed is getting a little unsteady, so we have time for one more question. All right. So Jordan, you can choose between one: bread goes in, toast comes out. What happened to the bread? Not all of our question askers are totally literate.
That's a good question.
But I think the thrust is the bread.
So I'm choosing between what appears to be things that aren't even a choice, correct?
Yeah. So you can choose between one: bread goes in, toast comes out. What happened to the bread?
Yeah, what I like about this question is I don't even know where to delineate the line here.
Right.
Do you think the first choice is bread going in, and the second choice is toast coming out?
Oh, well, that's interesting to think about them as choices, Jordan, because heretofore I've considered them to be immutable facts of existence. But the idea that we could choose to put the bread in and we could choose to get the toast back out, that's a new paradigm, Jordan.
Yeah, for me, this person's obviously referencing the idea of a toaster, something.
Good.
But to me, the greatest toaster is time. I refuse to believe that you can purchase something at a store that will heat and harden bread.
Right.
Time will do the same.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
So I refuse to. I guess I refuse to answer that question.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It seems Facebook knows we're on. All right.
Okay.
So,
If they know, let's make it very clear. We will return to the traditional airwaves, the televised airwaves, this upcoming Monday at 11:30. We will not let you down. We are online as well. We are here at the Oppo.
And Jordan, we're going to get kicked off at any moment.
No, I'm trying to get some more information to you guys. Here, how much did Salon.com, all right, named after? Why don't you just call it haircuttery.com?
Okay, simpler.
How much did Americans pay for Mike Pence's walkout? Great question. All right, so they're already shading Mike Pence. Mike Pence didn't pay to walk out. Mike Pence paid to respect the